Welcome, everyone, to the Barcast. My name is Marcos. I can be a bit of a prude, and I'm here with.
Bearded Rob, a little bit rude.
So, for those of you guys that didn't realize this, we actually had to skip last weekend's episode. So, we're coming in off schedule.
Yes.
And I don't know if you want to go just back again to our regular schedule, just starting next Saturday and doing another show.
We could figure that out. No
Yeah.
problem.
But the reason, it's a very good reason that we didn't record last week was because
Good.
It's an
Okay.
extravagant. No, not. It's a very rational reason.
Rational.
Yes, very
Rational. Rational. You're
So-
how old?
I'm okay. 33.
And you've been driving for how many years?
Since I was 18. No, since I was 16. I got
Okay.
my learner's permit.
Okay, so you understand the concept that your car needs keys.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
But no. Okay. So that part maybe not. What led up to it was not so rational.
no, what
but
leads up to it is the fact that subconsciously you want everybody to know that you have a fancy Italian sports car.
I do not stop. I'm not one of those.
So you
people.
set your keys out there for
No.
everyone to see,
No.
and then like an idiot, you leave them sitting on the bar.
No, I do not.
One of the you
I don't- I
subconsciously
never do that.
Subconsciously, you do it all the time. You leave them
Never.
everywhere, always.
I purposely tried not to tell people what car I drive because I don't want to come off as a pretentious person.
Yeah.
I'm a prude, not an asshole.
Yep. Until such time as it comes to your car.
But so I go to Orlando Friday.
Yeah.
Um,
He makes it sound like Orlando is a hell of a trip. For those of you that don't know, it's
When
5 minutes north.
when
of
you
us.
don't have a fucking car, yes. But I go to Orlando because it's my Rachel, our good friend.
Yeah.
She's getting married. Congratulations to Rachel! Yay! And I am going to be her bridesmaid.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the equivalent of a bridesmaid. But
Are you wearing a dress?
We haven't made that decision yet. It's her
I think
wedding.
you
I'll
should.
do whatever she tells me to.
Okay, good.
But
I'm
I
going
go
to
to-
tell her to make you wear a dress.
oh, stop! I go to Orlando. I meet up with her. We have
A
dinner.
brown one
Go-
that looks like you're a giant turd.
No, we have to obviously match the wedding theme and everything.
Yeah,
There-
well,
there are rules to this.
Wedding theme is I have a friend named Marcos who's a giant turd.
Okay. But I go up, meet up with her. We have dinner. Then we start bar hopping. We go from place to place.
And everywhere you go, you set your keys on the bar.
No, I do not.
You do. You
But-
always do.
Long story short, night ends. I'm heading back to my car. When I get to my car, I pat my pockets and no keys. So it's already like 5 till 2. So everything's starting to close. I start frantically calling all the bars. Either they're not answering because obviously they're busy closing up and stuff, or they're already closed. So I can't find my keys. Good thing was that I had a friend that lived close by. I stayed at her place. Next morning, I wake up ultra early. I'm talking about like 7 o'clock and rush to my car just to make sure it's still there because it's downtown Orlando and they tow just because you
Everything.
fucking sneezed.
Yes.
The car thankfully was still there. I start calling the bars again, but again it's 7 a.m. They're all still closed. I go ahead and I call the dealers, and you would think that with a car that costs that much, you would have dealers that were responsive.
Yeah, he doesn't want you to know about his car. That car that costs that much, they would have better.
No, but
customer
it could be any. It could be a Mercedes. It could be a BMW. It could be anything. But with expensive cars, you expect decent customer service from the
service.
dealers.
Do you now?
Yes.
Okay.
So this dealer has this car has 2 dealers. One of them is off of I-4. Okay, just because I want to mention these dealers. It's an Alfa Romeo. There's the dealer, the Greenway Alfa off of I-4, and then there's like an East Orlando Alfa Romeo, whatever. I call both of them. East Orlando doesn't even answer the phone. It just rings and rings and rings and rings.
Because
So
it's Saturday morning.
they're dealers. You would think that they want to make. If the phone rings, I could be somebody wanting to buy a car.
Service may not be available.
Yeah.
Though.
No answer.
Sell a car, no problem.
No answer though,
Fix
whatsoever.
it. Fuck you. Wait till Monday.
The Greenway, the one on I-4, they answer the phone, but they don't have the key available. They don't have it in stock. So then I'm just like, fuck, this is the only people. So I start calling a bunch of locksmiths. Somebody has to have this fucking key, an aftermarket, whatever. I finally get through, after calling for like an hour, I finally get through the sketchiest Russian person I've ever heard. He says he has a key and he'll be here in 45 minutes. Shows up, goes through the car, is connecting his computer and all this stuff. I'm there for like an hour just waiting on him to do this. Can't get it done. He hands me the key and says he's going to send another guy to come by. This guy shows up. I'm not exactly sure. He was ethnically unidentifiable. I had no idea where he was from based on his accent or what he looked like.
Okay.
But he gets it running. It takes him like an hour and a half to get this car turned on. When he finally charges me, the first guy said that it was about 400 and something. This guy charged me $755.
Because it's Saturday fucking morning.
I understood.
And you're in a rush.
I was like, my heart got stabbed, but I was like, you know what? It is Saturday. I probably pulled you out of bed or something. I don't know, whatever. I did not get out of that parking lot until about 2:30 or so. By that time, I was frustrated, tired, and almost $800 in the hole. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go home.
And suffering from your unconscious need to be a victim and have drama.
What drama? There was no drama. I just lost my keys.
Dramatic. No, you did. You left your keys on the bar because you sit them on the bar instead of leaving them in your pocket.
Well, I haven't even
do this frequently.
I haven't been able to recover my keys because then all of a sudden a fucking hurricane hits.
Hurricane's good for you.
What?
Cleans everything out.
Well, I know that I don't have to prune my bushes for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hurricane Ivan.
You don't have to prune your bush.
Rob, I'm done with you. Hurricane Ivan hits. Ian. I don't know why I want to keep calling it Ivan. Ian hits. I hope that everyone.
In 2004.
Yeah,
right?
I think that was the one with Francis and all that stuff.
Yeah, we had Charlie, Francis, Ivan, and Gene.
Yeah, all at the same time.
Yeah, 4 of them in like 5 or 6 weeks.
It was the fucking
crazy.
worst. But if you're watching, I hope that you have internet first and foremost to be able to watch or listen, and that I hope you have electricity and that your yard's not flooded.
Absolutely.
If you are watching, let us put something in the comments. Let us know what your, I guess, disaster story is.
Absolutely. I hope everybody's safe. We do have a few friends that are still without power and stuff like that, but everything's coming together. Yeah. I was very fortunate. My power was out for 3 hours. 3 hours on Thursday morning, mind you. The worst of it had passed.
Yeah.
At 6:40 in the morning, the power in our neighborhood went out. At 9:40, it was back on.
Wow. Our power did not. I was at my parents' house. My grandmother came over. We had everyone there. A little hurricane party. Our power did not go out.
Good.
Or at least we didn't notice if it went out, because if it went out at nighttime, we were sleeping.
Yeah.
We slept through the major parts of the storm.
Most people did.
Yeah, we woke up at like 2 a.m. because it just sounded like a fucking disaster was going on outside.
Well, but here's the weird thing about this, okay? It touched land in Southwest Florida, just north of Fort Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Sanibel Island, the bridge to Sanibel is so screwed. It's
completely collapsed. They can't get out.
Yeah, it's horrible down there. Horrible. But it touched land at just under a Category 5.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, as it was touching land, it was slowing down.
Yep. It went from 10 miles to like 5.
Well, 8. And it was a big storm, 500 miles across, right?
Yep.
Over 500 miles across. By the time the eye touched land, it was all, we were already feeling the effects of it up here. Devastated down there, but because it moved so slow, it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
The first part about it moving so slow is while it's over water, it intensifies. When it hits land, it has more of a chance to break apart because of how slow it's moving. Good thing for us, bad thing for everybody down there because it sat on top of them forever. Yeah. The other thing that makes it bad when it moves slow over land is a storm like this that had a lot of rain.
Keeps dumping water on you.
Keeps dumping water, and that's why our area was extremely flooded, and there are still probably areas that are. But it was breaking apart. By the time my anticipation was, I thought by the time it got to us, it was going to be a Category 1 leaning into a tropical storm. When it got to us, it was barely a 2, almost a 1. And while it was above us, the eye disintegrated, as it seems to always do.
Yep.
and we had tropical storm warnings after, or conditions after that. Mind you, a lot of rain and some serious gusts, because all, like I said, the worst of it had already passed, and at 6 o'clock in the morning now my power goes out. It's kind of crazy, but again, it came back on, so I can't really complain. And the only damage that I can see anywhere around my particular house is we used to have a sable palm out by the fire hydrant on the corner, and now there's just a big hole in the ground. Where that sable palm went, I have no idea. There is no sign of it anywhere. I have no idea where that thing went.
No, for us in my neck of the woods, because I live about 20 minutes south of you.
20 minutes south if you could drive, but because of where it is and how you get there, it's an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah. But my neighborhood didn't see any direct flooding or power outages. Our neighbor just had one oak tree that fell. We are surrounded by trees, which I believe helped us. And we have Reedy Creek right behind us. So I think that kind of drew away a lot of the water. Now, the Thursday and Friday, what happened, or excuse me, Wednesday, when the storm actually hit, north of us, the lights went out. And a little bit farther north on Point Siena and 192, those areas got hyper flooded. I'm talking about Polynesian. If you live up in the area, Polynesian between 192 and 535 had about 2.5 feet worth of water. There's a small little neighborhood on the east end of Point Siena Boulevard, south of 192. There are a lot of manufactured homes and stuff like that completely flooded. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those areas lost complete power because transformers were exploding and all that good stuff. And I didn't really realize how bad it really was until I was forced to go to work on Friday.
Okay.
Or not forced. They told us to. I should have just been like, no, I'm not going, but I need a job. I started driving, and I was able to make it to work fine, but you could tell that like the water had just recently started receding, because most of Point Siena Boulevard still had like that small cap of water over it, that if you were going too fast, you were going to hydroplane, and like a lot of cars actually did, end up in the ditch.
Yeah.
Like I would see side roads still flooded with like about 1.5 feet of water, a lot of trees and stuff on the ground. But the actual main roads seem to be somewhat clear. I assume that because emergency people just focus specifically on those roads first.
Sure.
But yeah, it was not a fun time.
No.
But it reminds me of Charlie. Charlie wasn't a fun time either.
Charlie was a different type of storm, though.
Yeah.
Charlie was an incredibly fast-moving, very focused storm.
Well, I was reading that apparently Charlie fit within the eye of Ian.
Yeah.
Because it was small and super intense and moving fast.
Yeah.
But because it was small and so compact, it was like 4 times as strong.
It was incredibly strong, and if you were in its wake, you saw a lot of damage. But if you were outside of it, not so much.
Yeah.
I was living in College Park at the time, and we got blasted. It was
from Charlie.
Yeah, it was crazy down there. Wow. Crazy.
Honestly, living here 20 years, the only hurricanes that I can pinpoint as being bad times were Charlie and Ian now. But other than that, the other ones that have hit, if you're from the north, close your ears. The other ones that have hit haven't been that bad.
They've been different. There was the one that hit in 99 or 2000 that hit Tampa.
Not Andrew.
No, Andrew is South Florida. That's Miami in 92. I can't remember the name of the one that hit Tampa that year, but the waves were actually coming over the Howard Franklin Bridge. I was trying to get across it at the time. So we were like timing the waves and driving 100 miles an hour in between them.
What were you doing out in the middle of a hurricane?
Trying to get home.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it just, you didn't know it was coming. Yeah, it was a weird thing.
No, and there was the one that hit, is it Panama City? Like a few years ago, that was really bad.
That was really devastating.
Yeah.
We saw nothing.
We saw none of that.
Yeah, we saw none of that.
Yeah.
And the last one that came to our area in 2017, it hit us as a 1, but totally disintegrated and stalled out, while it was here. And it wasn't all
and
that
it just
bad.
it was just a lot of rain. I remember that it was
not
like
even
3
really
days
a lot of
straight
rain. It was just not really serious rain though. The wind was
Yeah.
the wind, but other than that, no big deal. Yeah, nothing. Now, but that brings me to an interesting point though. When hurricanes do come, they do a lot of damage,
Yep.
and people need help.
Hmm.
Okay, there are people that are stuck and need help. Um, they're sitting at home. There are people right now sitting at home by themselves. Because if it were me, I would be by myself. I live alone, right? So I would be there by myself, and there are people that still have no power right now.
Yep.
And that's not fun.
Nope.
Not fun at all. And people do need help. Can you imagine being on Sanibel Island, not being able to get off the
of it,
island
yeah.
to go take care of yourself, or get back on the island to check your home?
Yep.
Right? There's a lot of issues here. People are, it's not comfortable at all. And people do need help. And, governors of these states that get hit tend to do the right thing and immediately ask for government help. They look for FEMA. They ask the federal government to help. And Ron DeSantis, right down here in Florida, like every other governor of a state that would get hit by something like this, where you have a lot of people out of power and a lot of people who really, really do need help. Guy in Fort Myers who's stuck in his house because of the storm surge, right? All of this that went on, and he asked for help. Great, wonderful, no problem. Well, let's talk about Ron DeSantis.
Hmm.
Florida gets hit here in 2022, immediately asking the federal government for help, talking about how Biden is responding and everything is wonderful and fine. Great, fine. In 2013, let's turn back. New York City and northern New Jersey get hit by Sandy.
Yeah.
Devastated. I mean, horrible amounts of damage, because you're talking about economic centers that were hit.
Yep.
You're talking about huge population centers that were hit, right? Horrible damage.
In areas that don't normally historically see hurricanes.
This kind of thing. Horrible. New York asked for help immediately. Ron DeSantis was in the House of Representatives, a representative from Florida to the U.S. House of Representatives, who argued against giving federal help to New York at that time.
Okay.
How hypocritical can you be? New York, you don't need our federal help, but immediately here in Florida, you're asking for help.
I don't know the situation of 2013. I can only assume that they were playing politics.
Of course, it's bullshit. What's wrong with people? Fuck, you got hit by a hurricane.
Yeah.
Of course you need help.
Yeah.
Let's help people.
I know that
Why would it be anything else?
a lot of people are actually commending, just like they did when Charlie Crist was here. I think it was Charlie Crist that was here when Charlie hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or was it Scott at the time?
2013,
2004 was Charlie.
Charlie couldn't have been Scott yet.
Couldn't have been Scott. Yeah. So just like they commended Charlie Crist for his response, they commended DeSantis for his response.
Not saying he did anything
Yeah.
wrong with his response
I
I
find that
no. I think that what's hypocritical is his lack of
actions
support for this
for New York.
response to New York,
yeah,
which is typical of him.
I do find that the response to natural disasters, regardless of what state you're in, there's a playbook for this. I don't think this isn't something that DeSantis comes out and says he's running off his cuff and just saying things. It's
Look at Ted Cruz, right? When last year when they had the freeze in Texas,
Yeah.
wants all the help he can get. Every other state that wants help, they don't need our help. You stand on your own. Well, come on.
I find that tends to be a issue not only with natural disasters but with a lot of stuff, and this is why I couldn't be a Republican, because when it comes to specific things, I tend to see that, and this isn't all to speak for all Republicans, that there's a group of them that are very hypocritical when it comes to a lot of stuff. When it comes to government help or anything like that, they are very much willing and able to accept government help, but when it comes to giving government help, that's when they cut
All
the
of a
cord
sudden,
and say,
they have to cut the cord. No, it's very hypocritical. And one of the biggest problems is that we're talking about people that are willing to use people as a means to an end for a perceived political purpose.
Yeah, which was one of the topics that we were supposed to talk about last week.
Exactly. Told you I had a segue.
Yeah, that was very good. Good job. Look at you. This was actually one of the topics, like I mentioned, that we were supposed to talk about this past Saturday had we been able to meet up. But a lot of you guys know, and this is going back to DeSantis and may not be this will maybe take your mind off of the situation that you're currently in, if you are in a situation. 50 migrants sent to Martha's Vineyard.
50 asylum seekers.
Yes, asylum seekers.
So let's understand something. The news tried to make a big deal about these are illegal immigrants. First of all, no, they're asylum seekers. Secondly, you need to understand that not every undocumented border crossing is a crime. They're not all illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are civil issues, right?
Yep.
Okay. And in this particular instance, these 50 people, 50 some roughly, did what they're supposed to do. When you're seeking asylum, you get to where you're going, you turn yourself in at a border checkpoint, right? Because we have a secure border. There are border checkpoints. So they went, they turned themselves in, they said they're seeking asylum, and they were immediately put into the program that is designed to get them to court. And
within 150 days.
And mind you, they are now stateless people.
Yes.
The first thing that happens when you seek asylum is you surrender your passport. You are a stateless person. During that whole process, you can't go anywhere. You're stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there they are in Texas, and our illustrious governor decided to go to one of his campaign supporters and hire 2 private jets at over $600,000 expense to Florida taxpayer, fly these jets to Texas, somehow convince them that we have help for you in Massachusetts, in Martha's Vineyard, okay, which nobody in Martha's Vineyard or in the entire state of Massachusetts or in the entire region of New England or the rest of the United States had any idea that these people were coming, gets them to get on a plane, sends them up there where there's no help whatsoever, roughly $13,000 per passenger. Up you go as a political stunt to try and say, we're sending them to sanctuary cities, which the concept of a sanctuary city is a political talking point in and of itself. Because all we're talking about is states, counties, cities, regions that are saying,
we're not going to prosecute.
No, what they're saying actually is legally, the issue of immigration is a federal issue. It falls within the jurisdiction of the federal government, Homeland Security, ICE, what have you. That's their job, not ours. All they're saying is that if we have a hold of them when you come to get them, fine, do your job, you come and get them, whatever. We're just not going to spend our time,
reaching
money,
out
and resources to look for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they're saying. And mind you, down in Arizona, Arpaio actually got convicted and sent to prison for involving himself in the federal immigration process. Of course, the Tangerine Demon pardoned him, but the point of the matter is it is actually illegal for local and county governments to be involved in the immigration process.
I guess, yeah, like you mentioned, the sanctuary city thing is just, I guess, a political talking point.
It's a political ploy. That's all.
They didn't have that power to begin with, essentially, and Democrats are just like, well, we're sanctuary cities without that word really meaning anything.
Well, but that concept of sanctuary city, it's not a Democrat thing that started that. That's a Republican talking point to say that you guys are soft on immigration. You're soft on illegal immigration.
During Obama and the beginning of Trump, that's when a lot of Democrat governors and officials started saying that they tried it here in Osceola, tried to make Osceola a sanctuary city. They have passed resolutions and such in different areas to make them sanctuary cities.
But the word,
but it's just a word.
The word and the term comes from a pejorative attempt to say that these areas are not doing their job to protect our country, right? That's where that term comes from. A lot of places are saying, look, we are not going to spend our resources on
doing this.
Something that falls within the jurisdiction of the federal government. Let them handle that themselves. That's all.
No, so I guess to kind of bring it back a little bit and put some context into this, because me and you, we actually sit down before we do shows and kind of go over this stuff. We went over this stuff 2 weeks ago, and we find ourselves to be a show with journalistic integrity.
Trying to
As much as that
try to
counts for
be,
anything.
I try to be. No, I
we
I
want to
don't
make
wanna-
Rachel proud.
No, I don't want to say something that I heard without checking into it. You know, one
No,
of,
and we
and-
we sat down and went over all of this.
yeah. Well, and one of the things that I tend to do is that I make no secret about the fact that there are certain politicians that I just simply don't care
Yeah.
for whatever reason. And when I hear something that my gut instinct says to me, I say this with a huge smile because it's like, oh, you said that. Yes, he's a piece of shit. The first thing that I do is I take a step back and I go and look and try to see
Research it.
what really happened. Because a lot of times I got to think, did somebody say that? Okay, they might have. Are you taking it out of context?
Yes.
Probably. Could it have possibly been? Maybe. But let's look at the context, right? The thing that's weird now, though, in the world that we live in now, more and more often, that shit that you say, how could somebody fucking say that? They really fucking
Said
did.
that. Yep.
Yeah.
Within the context that people are saying.
Yeah. And it's like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, but to give, I guess, the topic that we're talking about, context. Like you mentioned, the migrants were here technically legally.
Not technically
Or
legally.
legally.
They were here legally.
They came on asylum, which allows them 150 days to stay stateless within the location that they are.
Mhm.
And giving a little bit more background than that, to that,
Mind you, that 150 days, though, that's an initial hearing where they make
Yes.
a determination
if they can
as
stay
to
or have
whether
to
or
go,
not your asylum seeking is legitimate.
Mhm.
After that, the process that goes on after that, these people sometimes remain stateless for years.
yes. Which that whole asylum seeking process already has a lot of issues. Things that I saw when I was working in immigration, where you have what are called notarios, which are not notaries, not the concept of notaries that we have here, where it's just a guy that stamps and verifies your signature. Notarios are basically a legal concept in a lot of Latin countries, where they're like one step under attorney.
Similar to a paralegal.
Yeah, kind of, but they have a lot more authority than like a paralegal does, apparently.
Okay.
What notarios are doing in a lot of these countries is basically stealing people's money and sending them knowing that they don't qualify for asylum. And then once the people are here for the 150 days, they think that they're okay, pay this notario a bunch of money, and then they end up getting their asylum rejected and are back and are sent back. But that's one thing. Another thing is that while Trump was there, he had the stay in Mexico thing that Biden then got retracted on or went back on, where if you did seek asylum, you had to stay where you were at. You couldn't come here until they processed your asylum, which is, I guess, one of the issues that they see with it, that if they hadn't been allowed to cross the border in the first place, that we wouldn't have to then possibly look for them afterwards.
Well, that was the one of the issues that came up during the Trump years was the idea that if you're seeking asylum, you should seek asylum in the first country that you come to.
Yes.
Well, think about some of the first countries that you come to. Is that really where you want to be? No, you should go seek asylum where you think you're going to be safe, right? And for Venezuelans, a lot of them
Colombia.
go to Texas.
Oh, yes.
A lot of them go to Florida because they already have family here. You know, where else would you go?
Well, I know that and this is just me speaking out of experience, not because I know this stuff. The majority of Venezuelans that I know have gone to Colombia because they apparently Colombia and Mexico have been two big spots for people from Venezuela, because what a lot of people don't understand is that Venezuelans are still allowed to travel.
Venezuelans
are still allowed to travel to specific places. Their passport still allows them to go to Colombia and until very recently Mexico.
And Aruba.
So Mexico has shut them down.
And Aruba.
Yeah. So what a lot of Venezuelans were doing were going to Mexico and then crossing the border. They're no longer allowed to do that. So they still go to Colombia and find other avenues to get over. So until very recently, people have this concept that every immigrant walks the entire way. No, they do not. That's dumb.
The greater majority of them get here in an airplane.
Yes. And the vast majority of them, especially from Caribbean locations, Dominican Republic, like where my family's from, they come here on a visa. Yep. Because it's still somewhat easy to get a visa from Dominican Republic, so long as you show that you have still have continued ties to Dominican Republic, and that you are showing that you are not planning on staying.
The greatest number of undocumented immigrants in the United States are visa overstays.
Mhm.
And the greatest number of visa overstays are people from European countries.
Oh yeah, because that's another thing. We don't go after people from England, Canada, a lot of people, Germany to Italy, all those people that come on visas and just stay.
Because they can get a 60-day visa for virtually with
With
no
no
work
pro-
whatsoever.
process,
They
yep.
come and they just stay.
Yep.
And no, we don't go after them. We don't go looking. No, but
Well, it's a lot. I have a theory.
if your last name has a Z, we're looking for
I
you.
don't think it's that, because you can't. They don't know your last name until they see the papers. It's much easier to just base it on what you look like.
Yeah,
Do you
absolutely.
look like someone that doesn't belong here?
What you look like and who you happen to be around at the time?
Yes, because if you're Juan Queredon hanging out in a taco place in Polk County, you'd probably have a higher likelihood than John Smith hanging out in a trucker bar.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, if you're in Polk County, you're at the mercy of Grady Judd,
Oh.
which we've talked about him before.
We did, and oh my god, we had the funniest joke at work that we were talking about the whole hurricane situation in Polk County and thinking that I wonder if Grady Judd was running stings in the middle of a hurricane.
Absolutely, he was running a
Child
to
pornography
catch a predator, right?
in the middle of a hurricane.
Yeah, he tried to use the hurricane to cover his illicit intentions.
But so a little bit more background. The migrants didn't go from Florida to
No, they were never in Florida. They
were
went
never
from
here.
Texas.
They were, which is always kind of, as soon as I found out, because me, like a lot of people, I thought that they were here and that DeSantis sent them from here to
No, it took
Massachusetts.
me 25 minutes to bitch slap you into understanding the fact that they were never in Florida.
They were never here.
I could beat
They
you-
left from
beat you in the
Texas.
face.
Because it didn't fit in my brain. I think it's
Why is the Florida governor involving
Exactly.
himself with people who are never in his state? Because it was a fucking political game.
But I think that would be more of a court issue than the whole
Which is why
Waiver thing.
which is why you have the sheriff down in Texas who's talking about the fact that this is human trafficking.
yeah. Because what jurisdiction or under what jurisdiction can
Where does he come
DeSantis?
from?
Yeah,
Where does he come from?
like
It was a game.
imagine if another, I don't know, Newsom decided to get people from Florida and just ship them to California because he wanted to. Like, I don't think that a governor has that kind of jurisdiction to
They
do
don't.
things in another
No,
state.
They don't. This is the biggest problem here. People don't. Nobody's talking about the fact that what he did is illegal on a lot of different levels.
The thing is that I find that that's something that the courts are going to have to decide. That the waiver thing that apparently these individual what they're actually suing for, because we can't hold somebody accountable for something they're not being sued for that the state hasn't brought charges for. What the individuals that were shipped over to Martha's Vineyard are actually suing for is that they were essentially deceived. They were told one thing, that they were going to go to this place and have specific things, and they didn't.
I have 4 words for you on this. 4 words.
What?
Fraud in the inducement.
Well, here's one thing. The argument that DeSantis and his group are making is that they signed waivers with all the information that they were going to have. That's
It said that we had help for you in.
Well, I haven't seen the waiver. You haven't seen it. Have you
No,
seen
I
it?
haven't.
Exactly. So we can't say what was in this waiver and what these people signed. And
But we know what they were told.
a man's word that hasn't meant anything since the days handshake started going out of style.
We know that they were told that they were going someplace that was help for them, that had help for them.
But the thing is that we're told things every day, and we can't. If we sign a piece of paper, we have to go based on the four. What's it called?
Based on somebody
4
whose
corners of
primary
the
language
document.
is English. Based on somebody whose primary language is English.
So the courts have already said that language barriers are not an excuse for entering into using that as an excuse for why you entered into a contract. It wasn't duress. It wasn't. What you weren't held
Duress. There's no T in the word.
duress. You weren't held at gunpoint or anything like that.
No, but you were given false information about what you were to be expecting on the end.
But were they given the opportunity to read the contract that they were entering into?
Who knows?
Because
And
a dealer at a car dealer can tell me whatever the hell they want. But as soon as I sign those documents and I come back the next day and say you told me floor mats and he points to that document, I'm screwed.
Well,
If it doesn't have floor mats on there.
yeah, we can talk all we want to about weird shit with car sales in Florida.
Oh, don't get me started.
Because they'll send you out the door with your car and 3 weeks later tell you need to come up with a larger down payment.
It's happened to me. So
it happens to a lot of people.
I know. That's why I make sure that I buy used. I don't buy new. I refuse to go to a fucking dealer anymore. Dealers can all suck my dick. They're all assholes. I don't trust them. They're scumbags. They're fucking thieves. No. But something that we wanted to make a point of, both of us, was the people not necessarily financed, but being financed by this whole migrant thing. A Mr. James Montgomery, who is the owner of Verital Systems Inc.
The company that had the planes.
Yes, he got paid $600,000 plus, specifically for this whole migrant thing.
Yes.
Now,
mind you, this is a company that claims that they have 2 or 3 planes.
Mhm.
They claim to have a very small number, but the FAA shows that they have 50 some planes registered to them.
interesting.
Yeah.
Now, what I find interesting is
And
that,
their website is now down.
I bet they've probably been trashed. What I find interesting about James is that he is a GOP donor, which isn't suspicious or anything in and of itself.
In and of itself, no suspicion there,
But
but
it's
he is.
It's one of those things that would he have gotten this contract had it gone through a silent bid process or anything other than just DeSantis essentially handing this over to him?
Yeah. Well, no, and this comes into play with, who are you hiring to do these things? And it happened really, really quick.
Yes.
So we know it's a no bid process. This was a no bid award, which brings. I will tell you that I have my own issues with federal contract situations, and I will tell you that the no bid process has a lot of questions to it.
Almost every procurement process that I've seen has a fucking bunch of problems, from
It's
the
a
local
nightmare.
all the way up to the top.
It's a nightmare.
It's
really
a bunch
is.
of scams. It's a bunch of scams so that people can get their friends to have specific contracts. Brandon does it all the time by giving his dad contracts for a bunch of construction and surveying work within the county. How he always happens to be the one that gets these contracts, no one knows. But have we beaten this horse enough? You want to keep going?
We might have.
Yeah.
We might have beat this one. We might have.
Tits.
Oh, okay.
Or actually, let's
Yes. Thank you.
let's take a quick break.
Amen.
Francis is inviting us to a drink, and he actually has some word for you guys once we get back.
Groovy.
Yeah. So we will be right back. And we're back.
Yes, but when we left, you had made
No.
You said tits, and
We-
I'm interested.
No, we're not going into that now.
I want to know.
We're not going into that
Okay,
now.
fine.
We have other more pressing issues. Hold on, let me do
This
this
is
way.
what Marcos's boyfriend
Is,
said.
is he coming yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. So, we're gonna actually be doing a little bit of a special segment. A little bit of a special segment. We are actually going to invite Francis. He is one of our amazing bartender. Is he a bartender here? What exactly is his
Francis
title?
is just Francis. He's got he does Francis shit.
Yeah, he's our local Francis, and
Yeah.
he is going to be introducing our beers of the week.
Excellent. Very excited
So
to hear
he's,
what he
he's
has
going to be
to say.
walking over in a few seconds. Oh,
Here
there he is.
comes. Fantastic.
There he is. There is Francis. Yeah, just put that sucker right there. So I am going to be stepping away. Pictures? Yes. They can see you on the camera, so you can just
Oh.
say pictures. I forget. So I'm going to be stepping away and letting Francis sit here. You'll probably hear my voice in the background yelling if the beer sucks or not.
Yeah.
'Cause I'll be an honest person. Francis just wants to sell shit.
That's kind of rude. That's kind of rude. No,
I will be your
Francis is not
impartial.
he is not a shameless capitalist.
We believe in impartiality here, but I'll go. Here you go, Francis.
Why, thank you, sir.
Fantastic.
All right.
All right. So now that the hippies are here,
Yeah. So let's talk about Fish and the Grateful Dead. Okay.
Fantastic.
All right. Okay. So we got three different.
what I like is when Phil's bass track,
Yeah.
like you got the double sound and it tracks it through. The funk is awesome.
Yeah, he is a funky dude. Phil Lesh. Any of you guys are wondering, go check him out. He's a lot of fun. J-Rad, Fish, Dead and Company are actually calling a quits to it for
Really?
a while. Yeah, I think everybody's seen Billy Strings play with Billy and the Kids out west, and dude just set the world on fire.
Billy Strings is fucking phenomenal.
Billy motherfucking Strings. All right, so let's
If
get
you
into
don't
this.
know, you need to find out.
You need to find out. So we got three different ones here that are on draft here at Breeze 70 Steakin' in Kissimmee, home of the Barcast, right?
Fantastic.
Okay, so the first one we're going to try is Alician's Night Out Pumpkin Ale. This is
Okay.
the furthest one on the darkest one there. So
Okay, I'll
let's
go
grab one of them
pumpkin
bad
ale.
boys.
Pumpkin ale.
Very pumpkin-y. Feels very fall for an
Smells
October
delicious.
1st day.
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I right?
September 1st.
It's October 1st, dude.
It is. Where are you?
This fucking
It's
hippie has
October
been
1st.
asleep for a whole month.
Are you sure?
I'm very sure. I'm very sure. Holy
I
shit!
Rip Van Winkle
Put that-
September.
Put that down. You don't need to drink. All right, here we go.
Ooh. Okay.
It's like Grandma's kitchen, right?
Okay.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Well,
It's like my
first
wife
of all,
and
I have to
grandmother's
say that
kitchen.
normally everything pumpkin I despise.
Yeah, that's
not bad. Not bad.
It doesn't taste like you're drinking a pie. That's kind of why I dig it.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
bad.
that's
I
good.
like it because it's not as heavy as other
Mhm.
pumpkin beers.
I agree.
I can have a few.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's not bad. I normally don't like pumpkin anything, and I will say, you know what? I
Yeah.
might have one.
Yeah, that night out, not bad. I believe that's like a 10%er. So it's strong. Knock your dick in the
Okay.
dirt. The second golden here is Delirium Tremens. Obviously, it's a staple of the Belgian beer world.
I like the name.
Yeah, the
Delirium
pink elephant.
Tremens.
If you've ever been to a bar and you see the pink elephant, this is what it is. Grab one of those guys. This is like a Belgian golden ale. Really good. One of my favorites.
I don't know the smell.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
very citrusy.
Yeah, but
It's
it
nice. I like it.
In all honesty, it smells like Windex.
what?
I don't know. Is it just?
What's wrong with you?
This guy
Did you
is sitting
smell
here
it?
drinking a Michelob Ultra out of a bottle. He's like,
Yeah, that's not-
like Windex.
And
This
I
is like a
explained to him-
world class brewery made this, and you're like, smells like shit.
This is
Well-
superior light beer. The
well,
label
I
says
explained
superior.
Superior light beer? Did they tell you that?
I explained
Fuck
to
outta here.
Marcos constantly that drinking Michelob Ultra is like making love in a canoe. It's fucking close to water.
It is so close to water. What'd you think of that?
It's strong.
Little coriander on the back.
Yeah.
You like that?
I do.
I went with the fall. I went with the fall
see
vibe.
the-
Definitely
I
a
feel the
fall
citrus. I
vibe.
feel the citrus.
Definitely a fall vibe. for sure.
That guy, he clocks in right about about 8.5%, 9%, something like that.
Okay.
So these are big boy beers.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for breakfast, but could be, right? And the last guy, this is the most interesting one I think that we have. There's a local company called Fizzy Delta 8 or maybe Delta 9. I don't know. They're Delta crazy now. But they have a product, and we have it here on draft. We're the only bar within 50 miles to have this. And it is a Delta 8 alcohol-free cocktail option. So this is a kind of we call it weed water. I don't know what they call it, but that's what I call it. And it's got some Delta 9 CBDs in it. They reckon if you drink, a few ounces of this, maybe like it comes in cans as well, so you can get some for the take home.
Groovy.
If you drink like the whole can, it's like eating a great big old edible. I mean, not like a 500 milligram, but like 30 milligrams, 25, 30 milligrams. You know
All
what
right,
I mean?
but we're talking to CBD.
It's a
edible.
CBD, but like, God, have you smoked some of the CBD?
Yeah.
Gee, Manetti, man. I don't
Yeah.
know what they're doing with that stuff. So this is the Wizard, the Fizzy. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
The
look that.
Wizard Fizzy.
I don't know what it's called. Fizzy. It's on the paddle, but it's very light.
It's fruity.
Fruity.
Yeah. Smells like
Smells like.
berries.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm getting a whiff of blueberry.
Like you would. know.
Windex,
Some strawberry.
blueberry, and grandma's house. Marcos,
Wow.
you need to go
Wow.
see somebody professional.
Wow. Wow, you need help.
Big time. All right. Cheers.
Bottoms up.
It's tasty. I like it.
I think we're doing 2-ounce shots of that because you can't mix it with alcohol.
Yeah.
You not legally, like they don't want you to, but
Yeah.
So we'll serve it 2-ounce shot, $5.
Not bad.
But I mean, it's like eating like a little 5-10 milligram edible. So you have,
it's tasty.
what the old hippie used to say: you can never take too little drugs.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah.
He was right. So
That's delicious. That would fuck my ass up.
yeah, fuck your ass. Ooh,
Well, that's
spicy.
what he's
Oh.
into. That's
Whoa.
what
Big ass
Down or up,
afterwards.
you're just all right.
punctuation
Why
is
am I
everything.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I've got for you guys. Come on down to Breeze. We're doing game day Saturday today and every Saturday. We usually start about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that.
Phenomenal breakfast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cheap too.
Yeah.
You're
You
about
can't go wrong.
$5. $5 for a breakfast plate. You can't beat it with a stick. What else we got going? Oh, bingo Thursday nights. First and third Thursdays. We had to skip it for the hurricane thing. I hope everyone's okay after that.
Hurricane bingo.
Hurricane bingo would be a good time. The chips are flying all over the place. Do we got anything else you guys want to chat about?
We're just happy having you as a guest.
Man, I'm happy being here.
we,
I'll
we,
be
we
honest.
love it.
Once I figure out this whole fourth and third mic,
Yeah, we'll do it.
Well, the thing that's really cool about where we are and what we're doing is everybody that we're plugging the businesses of our friends. Orange County. Go ahead,
Yes.
plug yourself. St. Louis.
Orange County. Oh no, I'm Orange Blossom.
Orange
yeah.
Blossom.
Sorry, I was like
Give
Orange
us-
County. I'm like, man,
sorry.
I haven't been in that place in a long time.
Yeah, but tell us all about Orange
Yeah,
Blossom.
so Orange Blossom Outdoor Pest and Lawn Spray. We take care of your lawn, your pest control needs. We do exterior pest, termites, and after this hurricane, mosquito control.
and
is-
ants, I've been told.
Ants and mosquitoes. Yeah, water tables rise, and they're all like, "Oh, we need someplace to go." And then they meet Francis, and I'm like, "Ah." Yeah, I'll get him. Yeah, you can give us a call. Look us up on Facebook or Instagram, Orange Blossom Outdoor Pest, or give us a call 407-849-8276. I didn't think about that for a
Hey,
second.
it's hard to call yourself, right?
It is. It is. All right,
Dude,
Thanks, guys.
thank you so much. We fucking love having you, man.
Thanks, Marcos. Appreciate you guys.
Love it.
we'll see you next week.
Oh yeah, we're here. We'll have something else.
Awesome.
For our weekly.
And I'll
Beer
probably
leagues.
bring one in that you can buy out in town, because those are just fun as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything. We love it.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
you.
Thank you, Francis. Always good to have our friends around.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right.
I want to do that again.
Of course, we want to do that again. We want to do these things. This is good.
Yeah, this was an amazing idea.
Yeah.
This was actually Francis's idea.
Love it.
Me too.
Well, this is the one thing that you have to understand about Francis. Francis is
Francis.
well, no. He is a marketing pioneer, and I'm going to say pioneer because he tries anything and everything that he thinks might work for him. Right?
Yep.
Which is really cool. He does a lot of different things, and he's really cool. He's out there. A lot of people know him. He's been around for a while, so people do know what he does and who he is. And he's a good friend, and he's always trying something new,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Really cool. And he is responsible for the Saturday game day breakfast.
He is.
He's had
Oh, can we talk about that for a second? Because you guys just briefly mentioned it.
Yeah.
So the Saturday
Game day.
game day breakfast.
Yeah.
So Saturdays, now that college football is playing, they do college football on all the televisions and the projector and everything within the bar, and you have got gorilla. See, my Spanish and English brain get fucked up because they call it gorilla parrilla, but my brain wants to say guerrilla parrilla.
Guerrilla parrilla.
Gorilla Parrilla is here, which is essentially Francis and Blaine cooking for us.
Yeah.
And it's like it's $5 a plate. Super. And all it's literally kind of like an at cost type of thing. Like they're not actually making money off of this.
They can't be if they're making
Yeah.
money, it can't be very much.
They're not making anything almost. They're literally doing it because they like hanging out with the regulars. So
Yep.
today we had breakfast tacos, which was fucking amazing.
Little chorizo, some eggs,
Yes.
pico de gallo.
They had two. They had the chorizo and then they had one with roast beef,
Crazy.
which was delicious. So
Really good.
Saturday, 7 Dake, East Dakin Avenue in beautiful downtown Kissimmee. Breeze. Make sure you cut out here on Saturday morning.
And it's getting more and more incredible here
Yeah.
all the
Oh my
time with
God, it's-
the gazebo outside.
Again, I love progress, but I'm afraid that too much progress will lead to gentrification. And then you'll have all of the Karens coming here asking for like lean lattes and shit.
I need a skinny margarita.
Yes, please. Well,
Skinny mojitos.
I'm gonna talk shit about Steve. Steve is over here asking for skinny margarita.
Steve watching his figure again.
Is he there?
Steve is still here. Ralph is down there.
I sit next to Steve and Jeff Woe, and they sit down and with all seriousness they ask, "Could we get 2 skinny margaritas?" And I just turn my head and I just because normally I'm the one asking for bougie shit around here.
Yeah.
I turn around and look at them and I'm just like, "The fuck." When I'm the one looking at you saying what the fuck, there is a real problem.
Absolutely. Well, and it's a wonderful thing on a Saturday when, for me, I started my day with a Bloody Molly.
Explain. You explained that to me earlier. Explain it again.
It's a Bloody Mary, but instead of vodka, you use Jameson.
Okay, and then there was another one you said.
Oh yeah, you could call it a Bloody Maria and use tequila.
So what if I use rum?
I don't know. Bloody Marge, I don't fucking know. Call it what you want to.
I'm gonna try it with rum next time because I had what I was drinking earlier was a regular Bloody Mary because he bought the Bloody what's the one that you had?
Molly.
Yeah, you had the Bloody Molly, and I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? That sounds good in the morning. It's
Yeah.
probably better than like going straight into hard
And
liquor.
tomato juice and stuff, right? It's good for you.
But yeah, so tits,
Yes. Yes.
tits.
We love them.
You say that now.
Uh-oh.
You say that now. So some news that right before the hurricane kind of distracted us from everything else. News that was making headlines was this Canadian shop teacher.
Yes.
So in Canada, a transgender shop teacher showed up to his class with giant. I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah,
They're huge.
yeah.
Giant prosthetic breasts.
Wait, hold on. Prosthetic or
Yeah.
are they implants?
Prosthetic.
Okay.
I haven't asked and I don't want to, but I believe it's one of those things that kind of just hang over your
It's a
neck.
vest, a
Yeah.
booby vest.
Giant titties just hanging there.
A booby vest.
Yeah. And
A boob bib.
Canada and the United States just fucking went nuts over these giant fucking fun bags.
Mm-hmm.
And not for the reasons that you would think. Most people would be like, oh, those are some nice tits.
Well,
Even though, okay.
they were big.
They
I
were
don't know
big.
about nice. They
Here's
were
the
big.
thing. I don't care
They
if you're
were big.
transgender. I don't care if whatever you are. I beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And to this
Absolutely.
beholder, that female is ugly as shit.
Not the most attractive transgender person
No,
I have
I've
ever
seen
seen.
some gorgeous transgender
Absolutely.
people. You go to Miami and there are that I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like,
No,
what the
absolutely,
fuck?
absolutely. There's
Yeah.
you can't deny the fact that
that she's ugly.
some of these people are incredibly beautiful
Mhm.
human beings, and this particular person, man or woman, is just an ugly person.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Period. And I guess I have to say that's probably subjective also.
It is. It's
You know.
subjective.
Yeah, that's completely subjective.
Yeah.
But
Others may find her gorgeous.
yeah,
And that's up to
absolutely.
them.
Absolutely. And I got no problem with that. The issue here, though, is
Yeah, what she looks like is not the issue.
workplace decorum.
So
Is that what we want to talk about?
that's what we talked about.
Is
the
that
issue?
the direction?
The
here?
issue that they are having though is that this person comes to class with these prosthetic breasts, and parents, I guess, get up all.
Yeah, but let's be honest. She's
Tight
also
button.
wearing like fucking Daisy Dukes in a sports bra.
Well, wait. Before we go into that, the issue wasn't that. The issue was that people got mad because of the prosthetic breasts,
Yeah.
tits, and I guess the school board, was it the school board? Yes, the school board basically says that they are unable to criticize her. Criticize was the word that the news used. The Canadian high school,
Which
says
is a
that
confusing word.
that it's illegal to criticize a trans teacher, which we just fucking went ham on her for being ugly. So would that be considered criticism?
That's criticism. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it may or may not be our place as to whether she's an attractive person or an ugly person or whatever.
I don't think there's a place that necessary. It's subjective.
It's very
It's subjective.
subjective, and
Others may find her gorgeous.
yeah, absolutely.
All power to them.
And that's fine. And you know what? I encourage people to be individuals
Yeah,
and to express themselves the way they want to. I don't like the concept of dress codes, okay, and things of that nature. But I also recognize the fact that there is an idea of professionalism
yes,
and dressing appropriately for the job that you have.
which is what we were talking about. Should have been the issue.
Yeah, that should have been the issue. It is, if that's the issue, for me, a school has the ability to say, you're not dressed appropriately for the job, man, woman, whatever, right?
Now, I guess here's the issue, because besides the prosthetic tits, she was wearing short shorts and like
Yeah.
clothes
mean,
that
Just quite honestly, this is not what you expect your teacher to wear to class.
yeah.
Yeah.
That now, I guess playing devil's advocate, considering that the breasts are prosthetics and that they're not implants, would those count as dress code issues rather than counting as transgender issues?
See, I think there's a really interesting line there.
Right?
Legally, there's a really interesting line.
Because it's a wearable object, just
As-
like a shirt.
From a step back and let individuals be who they are, this is her trying to reach out and find out what she wants to do before she does it. I don't know. I'm okay with the whole prosthetic breast thing. My issue is, for the school, the issue of professionalism.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the issue that's the only issue that should be being discussed here.
But again, isn't professionalism just as objective as beauty? What's professional to me doesn't necessarily, like, for example, I'm actually a perfect example now that I think about it, because my job, specifically in the legal field, and you can probably attest to this as well, professionalism means suit and tie.
And I hate ties.
And I think it's complete.
I think ties are rude, to be honest with you.
Okay, explain.
They're phallic arrows. I got
Oh,
a thing
come
pointing
on.
at my stuff. That's all it is. I mean, what's the point of I'm genetically accurate. Whatever.
My thing is that I find
Biologically correct, whatever. My stuff is where it is.
Okay.
It's where you might expect it to be. The only reason you would need an arrow is if it's on my shoulder. Hey, it's over here. Don't get confused.
hey, you go to Chernobyl and that may happen.
You never know.
But
Really, I don't like ties. I think they're rude.
not
I
even
don't
that.
understand
I
them.
find that the business arena is becoming more and more casual each day. And there are those that tend to be of advanced age that believe that a pinstripe suit is still something that is required. I tend to believe that I should be able to, literally, I'm wearing shorts and a button-up shirt.
I'm in Florida.
Exactly. It's fucking hot here year-round.
Always.
It's expected that people will wear comfortable clothes here.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's irrational or weird not to wear a fucking long sleeve button up and a tie I think it's irrational to do that if it's 90 degrees outside and a fucking blazer and all this other bullshit. And I understand that in the courtroom decorum requires that specific things happen and that you wear specific things, whatever. I think that's fucking stupid and antiquated as well.
I think it will change over time.
Hey, that's what we thought with COVID. We thought that everything would go virtual and stay virtual.
Well, but the reality is that in certain circumstances in court, it's no longer required. You can actually wear slacks and a sports coat, and you're okay,
Yes.
right? And another thing that I always noticed in the courtroom is that women could wear slacks and a nice blouse as opposed to an entire suit. But if a man were to come in without a jacket,
It's a problem.
you might have a problem.
Which it's not even okay. So
I also don't like the idea of the closed-toed shoe issue, because I can't wear sandals, but you can wear a pair of pumps that have your toes sticking out.
So the close man or woman,
And I know you like those pumps, Marcos. I saw you wearing them
they
the other
make my
day.
ass look nice. What
They
can I
do.
say?
Yeah.
Jeez. But the closed-toe shoe thing, I understand that just for us, you don't want a fucking heavy ass book or laptop or something to fall on your toes.
Yeah,
Like,
I get all
like
that.
that. But
I also, if we're going to talk about dress codes, I have to make the statement that one of the main reasons that I don't like them is that they are 90% of the time, and I'm making that number up, I'm just grabbing it out of the air, I don't know about the number, but I do know that they are disproportionately enforced against young girls more so than they are against men.
yes, 100%.
And I don't like
I
that.
agree.
I don't like that.
I just find the dress codes in general. They when I was an office manager for a small law firm, we didn't have a dress code. The only thing that we asked is that you dress in a way.
Please wear clothes.
One, and two, that you don't put yourself in a situation that you could possibly get hurt. You don't want to wear a whole bunch of frilly shit that could possibly grab onto something as you're walking by, drag it off the shelf, and hit you.
Yeah.
You don't want to wear open-toe shoes because if something falls on your foot, there's a higher likelihood that you probably break a toe. You don't want to smash your toe into a fucking table and break it either. So
Yes.
closed-toe shoes was a requirement. Other than that, fuck it. It's fucking just antiquated bullshit made up by a whole bunch of pinstripe people that have this like 1940s, we have to wear fucking schmucks and all this other bullshit to fucking work. It's all garbage. It's unnecessary. Now,
What's
this
schmuck?
the little a smock? Smock.
Smock. Oh, okay.
I've never used one, so I wouldn't know how to pronounce it.
Okay.
Um,
You've never finger painted?
No.
Really?
Finger painting? No.
You don't know finger painting?
I know what finger painting is. Have I done it? No.
You've not.
No.
You must.
It looks messy.
Oh, it is, but it's wonderful.
No.
Oh, it's very lethargic.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I prefer cooking. So cooking, yes, but you wear an apron for cooking, not a smock.
Same idea, though.
Yeah, you mess with your hands and shit. I keep hitting this fucking thing. You mess with your hands.
So stop doing it.
Relax. But I was my point going back to the whole tits.
Yes.
That if you're, I understand the safety side of it, and this for me, and I kind of touched on this when we spoke about it before. Considering that this individual is a shop teacher, I feel that when you're working with a buzzsaw or most tools that require any sort of electricity, because a screwdriver or hammer is something different. Most electrical tools, I feel like these giant tits would possibly get in the way, especially if they're not attached to your body where you have muscle memory and everything that can kind of tell you what distance your tits are from like anything. If these are just hanging there, you could cut off a titty.
Which nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. Like,
Yeah.
Now, it could be a safety thing again, because since you don't have any sort of muscle memory or anything to go along with these fun bags,
Awareness.
muscle awareness,
Spatial awareness.
spatial awareness. Yes, these are just hanging there. You've started
They're
wearing
new.
them. They're new.
They're new.
It's not like you've been wearing them for 20 years, so you know kind
That
of
we
like,
know of.
Yeah,
We don't know.
we don't know. Yeah, good point. Very good point. If you're working with something as simple as a shredder, you just need a little tiny piece of that to get stuck in that shredder, and now your entire titty's gone. So again, this is the whole dress code could technically be kind of subjective type of thing. Would that be a safety concern?
for me, the prosthetics are a non-issue. Wear them, don't wear them.
Mhm.
It is what you are. Whatever. Okay, I don't need to deal with that so much. I don't need to deal
Always
with
getting
that so
phone
much.
calls.
But what I'm more interested in is the concept of, is this the clothing that she wore, is that appropriate for teaching in the classroom?
So I think that what you're asking is, are they enforcing the rules equally to everyone?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Because she was in the pictures that we saw, she was wearing short shorts and a top that the sleeves are pretty short as well.
Yeah.
Is it being enforced equally? Which it, and these are the kind of situations that I find that, okay, how do I explain this without sounding like an asshole? Just because you're a transgender doesn't mean you can get away with things. Or just because you're gay, just because you're black, just because you're Spanish, just because of you're
There are
white,
certain
or-
things that
Yeah.
apply equally to everyone.
and they should apply equally to everyone.
Yep.
Dress codes being one of those things. If you work for a specific company, ooh, they're getting loud back there.
Yep.
Who's playing?
Kentucky. I
You
don't
guys
know
can
who
probably
they're
hear the
playing.
game back there. Where was that? Oh, if something as simple as a dress code should apply equally to everyone. Period. I don't see the difficulty behind that. Why can't we just apply these things equally to everyone? The whole criticizing transgender thing. If you're criticizing because she's transgender, I understand
Problem.
that. That's an issue.
Yep.
If you're criticizing as we were earlier, beauty is subjective, and I don't think that. And I'm one of those people that think we should lay off the whole bullying as necessarily 100% a bad thing. I think some bullying actually creates character. I do.
Well, there's part of it that it is growing up, right?
It is. It is. Like, if you're just being a fucking asshole for things that someone else, if you're bullying someone because they're handicapped, that's just being a fucking asshole.
There's a difference between ribbing, teasing,
Yes.
and bullying.
Yes. If you are causing actual harm, I understand that. You don't want to just beat up on somebody. That's fucking being a dick.
Yep.
But if you're throwing jokes down, we have to find some sort of limit where people can just speak freely without having to worry about, oh my God, everyone's going to cancel me on fucking Twitter.
Yep.
But I think we've reached the end of our show.
Yeah, I think so.
But
Come to that conclusion.
I do want another beer, so I
You're
don't know.
entitled.
I'm going to contemplate this and talk to Rob. We might do a special show for our Patreons if you're down for it.
We can talk about
20
that.
minutes or so.
See what we can do.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen our Patreon, you can find our Patreon at the Barcast on Patreon. Pay us a few bucks, as little as $3 a month, which isn't that much. I think we did the calculations last show, so if you want to see that, go back to our last show and check that out. But at thebarcast.com on Patreon, you can find us on Facebook at the Barcast as well. And damn, you already standing up?
I had to stand up. I was hurting my legs.
Okay.
I'm an old guy.
Ready? Okay. Age limit. We will see you guys later.
Groovy.
Peace out.
All right.